Hi everyone, it's Jose, and in this video I want to talk about Rogerian arguments. So, what are Rogerian arguments? Rogerian arguments were developed by psychologist Carl Rogers in his therapy practice, and they're basically an alternative to the way that he noticed people were handling arguments, which were mostly confrontational, where each side said, I was right and you're wrong. So Carl Rogers decided that maybe there was another way to engage with controversial issues where people had such strong opinions so that they could find some common ground and some collaboration. So I really like the style of argumentation because it really strives for common ground. Instead of trying to beat your opponent, you're trying to work together to find what benefits everybody involved. So a couple of things in regards to Rogerian arguments. First and foremost, they involve acknowledging alternative, and this is the hard part, opposing opinions to your own claims, and then fairly identifying when and how some of their points may be reasonable under certain circumstances. So when it comes to some of the most controversial issues in regards to immigration or healthcare reform, there are going to be people with strong opinions that are very opposing, and the only way to deal with those things is to maybe find a medium ground and see where at some points both sides may be valid at times during certain circumstances, and what could be of most benefit for everyone. Now, usually Rogerian arguments work best when it comes to exploring a highly contested issue with strong opinions. And the point of it is to engage with those opposing views respectfully in your own arguments and then look for solutions that benefit as many people as possible. So in effect, you're basically seeing an issue or topic from another person's point of view first, and then you state your own opinion. So there are structures to the Rogerian argument, and they fall under 4 categories. Something that's really helpful when you write a Rogerian argument for readers is to have an introduction where you introduce the issue. So this is a moment, usually especially in the beginning of the essay, where you describe the issue, the problem, or the conflict with enough detail that readers get a background context in terms of what are some of the major factors that cause the issue, what's at stake, and who are people who are being most affected by this issue. Now, you want to have that so that way on your next section, you can describe the major positions on the issue. This part is kind of a summary of the alternative but most valid and relevant positions on the issue at hand. And you want to do your best to present them in a fair, empathetic, and compassionate way. And you want to focus only on the issues that most people seem drawn to accept the most. So avoid issues that are really fringe and not too many people support. Only focus on the major issues, on the major positions on the issue. Then, after you've gone through step 1 and step 2, these 2 sections, then and only then do you finally state your position. So you state your position in response to introducing the issue and describing the major positions on the issue. So then you state your position and why you think it's valid. And then the final step is just sharing the benefits of your opinion to other people who would disagree with you. So you explain to those who might disagree with you why they would benefit from adopting your position while still acknowledging when and where some of the points they make are valid on the issue. So that's kind of the structure of, that's the general skeleton of Rogerian arguments in terms of how to put them together. So if you're writing an essay, you want to just create an argument that follows through 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's look at a quick example. I have an example here from David Foster Wallace's This Is Water commencement speech. And it's about 2 guys. You can pause the video if you want to read it. But it's about 2 guys who are intensely debating the existence of God. And one of them believes in God, the other one doesn't. So just keep that in mind. If you want to pause the video and read the example right now, that's totally fine. But come back after you're ready to continue on. So let's try to break down this argument, especially this argument of faith that's fairly contested. Someone's an atheist, someone's a true believer in God, and they probably can't see a middle ground. What would we do first? Well, the first thing we would do is introduce the issue, right? So the issue at hand is over the existence of God. One of the biggest considerations is where do people turn to when they face a crisis, a struggle, or a moment of anxiety, right? So I'm just laying down what the issue is and maybe what's at stake here. The second section, section 2, is to describe the major positions on the issue. And so for simplicity's sake, I'm only describing the two major positions. Although there may be other alternatives somewhere in the middle and in the spectrum, I'm only going to focus on the position coming from religious people who have faith in a higher power. And then there's also the position from those who don't believe in a higher benevolent power, known as atheists. And I also include one argument that both of them might share. So for the religious people, one argument they may make is that people who reach out to God in a time of need are presented with a solution or support to overcome the challenge they come up with, they bring up. Now, on the opposing side, atheists might say an argument that in circumstances of struggle, it's that people overcome challenges by relying on the goodness and moral ethics of other people, also known as humanism. So we have two different perspectives of the world that are opposed to each other. Now, we've presented the issue, we presented the context, the major positions on the issue, and now we have to present the writer's position on the issue. At this point, you're in a good place to present how do you feel in terms of this topic. Do you agree more with the religious people on this issue, or are you more on the side of the atheists in this issue? What valid points do both sides make that convince you on the topic? That's what you would share in this third section. And then 4, finally, you would share the benefits of your own position, the things that you are responding to that you agree with, and why they would benefit from everyone knowing. So obviously, a big question in terms of the existence of God, it's a big existential question. It's not going to be easily answered for everyone, and there's going to be a variety of opinions. But at the same time, we can find some common ground if you look at both sides or many sides of the issue to form your opinion. Now, when it comes to writing a research paper, a good place to find an issue that's controversial, that is highly contested, that has opposing viewpoints is through our school library databases. So I'm going to share 3 sources here that you can use to find research, to find a topic, and then to find sources to then create your own Rogerian argument. So the first one is CQ Researcher, and it gives in so CQ Researcher, then there's opposing viewpoints and SIRS issue researcher. All 3 are pretty much the same, although they have a different layout, and I'll show you right now what that layout looks like. So for CQ Researcher, so for all of them, they all present current issues, and then they also present pro and con views on the issue. The ones that they're just a little different in terms of how they present their information. So let me share what these different databases look like. Okay, so in our LBCC homepage, if you go to Academics and Library, it'll take you here, and then from here you're gonna search for articles, and then it'll take you to the database section, and there are a lot of databases. What I've done is I just go to popular article databases right here, and then it takes me here, and then it gives me a list of the most popular databases. And as you can see, there's CQ Researcher, there's opposing viewpoints, and then there's SIRS issue researcher. So I've already opened them up just to show you what they look like. So CQ Researcher looks like this. You can browse topics. You can see a list of the latest hot topics that are available. And you can find, some introduction to some issues. The one that I'm going to really focus on is opposing viewpoints. I think opposing viewpoints is the one that's most accessible and easiest to find a topic, and I love the way it's set up. So they have an issue of interest, so mental health, and they're very relevant. So they're talking about the COVID-19 outbreak, so they're already focusing on very current issues. Mass media, again, they're also talking about that in regard to the COVID outbreak, pandemic that's going on. And as you can see here, you can browse various issues that they have in context. So in regards to anything. So if you're looking for a topic, I would suggest doing your research in opposing viewpoints first, because when you do it, you can, let's say for example, mass media, right? They'll give you an overview of the topic, which you're going to need for your first section of your Rogerian essay. And then they present you with academic articles, viewpoints, meaning different positions on the topic, primary sources, so things that you can analyze, and a variety of other information already set out there for you. So you don't have to worry so much about doing the research. You just have to worry about reading the articles, understanding the different positions, and then forming your own opinion and creating a Rogerian argument. Okay, so I hope this video helps out, and I look forward to seeing what topics you come up with in terms of how you're going to form your Rogerian argument and how you're going to develop your own opinion based on reviewing all the alternative opinions available. Okay, thank you very much. Bye.